Some of you are going to hate this video. You'll immediately click off, or you didn't click through in the first place. Oh wait, you did, didn't you? I see you. Anyway, hang about for a bit and listen. Electric cars exist and they will continue to exist. And more people will switch to them. This is all inevitable. For sure, some people hate them. And to be honest, initially, I wasn't a fan either. Well, that is until I drove a Chevy Bolt right across the UAE about 6 years ago and actually really enjoyed the experience. On the other hand, some people swear by them. They believe in them with a cultish fervor, insisting that they will be the savior of humanity. Well, that remains to be seen. But the real question is, are they really the end of cars as we know them? Is there a bigger picture here? And as petrolheads, can we ever accept the EV revolution? Well, let's talk about all of that right after this.
A brown car guy. Brown car guy.
It is hard to ignore the growing divide between petrolheads and environmentalists. On one side, you've got the enthusiasts who live for the sound, the sensation, and the smell of petrol engines. And on the other side, you've got EV advocates, people that are pushing for clean, green, and silent machines to protect the planet. And it often feels like the two sides are constantly clashing. They just can't see room for any kind of middle ground or any kind of agreement. But here's the thing, whether we like it or not, the future of motoring does include electric cars. Governments are legislating for them, and frankly, they're going to be pricing petrol and diesel cars off the roads altogether. Car makers are being forced to shift their focus to electric, and charging networks are spreading. Not fast enough, frankly, but they are. They're spreading across the landscape, and they'll spread across the landscape like mobile phone towers did back in the days. Slow at first, but soon they will be everywhere. So like it or not, this is happening. So why the resistance? Well, for petrolheads, electric cars seem like the antithesis of everything that we love about driving. There's no engine noise, there's no gear shifts, there's no smell of oil, there's no connection with the road, it seems like. Some would argue there's no character, no soul even. Yes, I do believe that cars have souls. Well, some of them do anyway. But with EVs, it's just a quiet device that transports you from A to B. But on the other hand, it's easy for petrolheads to be completely dismissive of EVs. And I think that it's a little unfair. At the end of the day, we are car fans. And EVs, whatever you may think of them, they are still cars. Frankly, as a car guy, I'm interested in any automobile, whether it's powered by petrol, diesel, hydrogen, electricity, or nuclear fission. And as a motoring journalist, it is my duty to assess all and every form of automobile and try to understand what kind of buyer or user it might be best for. And there will always be somebody that car will suit. And that's what I do. I do exactly that. And I do that for electric cars as well. So are they really as bad as they're made out to be? Well, no. Because for a lot of people, the ease of driving that you get with an EV and the quiet, vaporless progress, these are all actually positive aspects. And even for speed freaks, the instant torque which EVs tend to have in spades can be a big plus. I mean, they might not roar, but they will pin you back in your seat like nothing else I've experienced, honestly. I mean, just the other day, I saw a video by Jason Camisa, a great journalist in America, for Haggerty, in which he drag raced a bunch of stuff, and including these cars was a Lamborghini Miura and a Volkswagen ID Buzz, yes, the electric van bus thingy. And at the end of the quarter mile, by the time the Miura got across the finishing line looking stunning, it couldn't even see the ID Buzz anymore because it had shot off into the distance and had probably gone in search of a charger. Sorry, see, even I'm pandering to stereotypes there. Let's not forget all the tech on these things. This is also another thing that appeals to many people. Self-driving modes, connectivity, zero emissions at the non-existent tailpipes. Electric cars are an inescapable part of the future of our mobility. But they offer a different kind of driving experience, a different, but maybe they're still enjoyable, still satisfying. Especially when you find yourself pinned to the headrest and your jaw is dropped when you full throttle it. Hey, are you enjoying this video? Then make sure you hit the like button. It's very important. Plus, comment, share, and make sure you're subscribing. Yes, of course, there are downsides. There are all the downsides that people think of, and most of them are true. Charging sucks right now. It's too inconvenient, too expensive, too long, too confusing, too hard to find. Range anxiety remains a thing for many people. Batteries do degrade, though nowhere near as quickly as some people would have you believe. And the reality is the values of these things are plummeting. But electric cars are still evolving. Look at the advances that we've already made. Batteries will get better. They'll be less damaging and cheaper to make and easier to recycle. They're going to get more efficient. They're going to be longer lasting. Charging will get easier and faster and plentiful. Range anxiety will be less of a thing. And even the prices will come down. In fact, they already are. They're still new technology, but they're going to get better and better. Just think about the fact that I remember I reviewed the first generation Prius, the first one, when it first came out. And there was the first hybrid car to be sold widely in the world. And I remember thinking it was utterly crap. Now, a few years ago, I ran the last Prius as a long turner in Dubai for a few months, and I was genuinely sad to see it go back because it was such a solid and sensible car. It had evolved to that extent that I actually quite liked it. And it looks amazing. They've seen a new one. It looks even better. It's absolutely incredible. And many of the EVs already look very, very cool. So there is going to be an evolution. They are going to get better. And at some point, you're going to go, actually, I quite like the look of that. Now, I'm not saying the petrolheads should give up their beloved internal combustion engines. Frankly, I don't intend to give up on petrol myself either, and that's certainly not yet. That's for sure. But the reality is that there is room for both, and there will have to be, and for quite some time to come. Let me explain. Look at it this way. In a good year, here in the UK, we sell about 2 million new cars, right? And there's currently, I would say, just over 1 million EVs on the road. I think 1.1 million or something like that. But in total on our roads, there's 40 million vehicles. Now, even if all the 2 million new cars sold were EVs, which I don't think will actually happen until, at least until 2035. But even if they were today, it would still take nearly 20 years to replace all of the ICE vehicles in the UK with electric vehicles. So meanwhile, electric cars, I think, can supplement petrol cars, not necessarily replace them altogether. It's just not feasible. But for many users, they will make sense as daily drivers. And for petrolheads, it's reassuring to know that because of what I've just said, petrol is for sure going to be around for another 20 to 30 years at least, if not longer. And I think that there'll be a transition where car people will use the EV for their daily commute and family duties, but still have petrol cars for the weekends and for enjoyment. And Ford has alluded to this, if you think about this scenario, and the fact that they've said that they're going to keep on building the V8 petrol Mustang until they're not allowed to do so anymore, and manual ones at that. But at the same time, of course, they gave us the Mustang Mach-E, which is an EV SUV. And so essentially that's the perfect pairing for the Mustang family, right? See what I'm getting at? Listen, we've just got to get used to it. Electric cars are here to stay. They're not perfect, but they're not as bad as you think. I've reviewed many of them, and frankly, there is very little to fault them. I'd even put EVs like the BYD Seal, the MG Cyberster, which I haven't driven yet, but I want to, and the BMW i4 M50, which is my favorite driving car, amongst these three, amongst my favorite new cars in total that are on sale today. So what do you think? Can you see electric cars as part of your future motoring? Or are you still holding out for a breakthrough that will save the internal combustion engine? Which, let's not be dismissive of that idea, because we have e-fuels, sustainable fuels, carbon recapturing is a thing. And hopefully all of these things will continue to be progressed and developed and grow and become more viable. And I actually have discussed this in another video, so do go check it out. Because of course we're going to need all of those for classic cars and for collectible cars anyway. So let me know what you think in the comments. Let's keep this debate going, because I'm pretty sure it will run and run and run, unlike an EV. See, I did it again, right? There I go, pandering to the stereotypes again. All right, so plug in the charger. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe, comment, share, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Hi guys, I've been writing. This is my first book, a novel, an all-out action thriller, and this one is a collection of 13 stories I've written over the course of 2 decades. The Euler's Files and The Quantum Races by BC Guy are out now on Amazon.com. Shout out time, guys. Thank you so much. Hey, if you enjoy my content, why not get involved? Buy me a coffee. You can do that at either of these links. Or if you're watching on YouTube, buy me a thanks or take out a membership. It all helps. It really does.